This is the totally cool Tesla Model X, and we are actually talking to the owner of this vehicle, and Jeff is going to give us a little walk around.
Hey there, this is a Tesla Model X 75D. That just means that it has the shortest range in terms of the battery. My maximum is about 232 miles on a daily basis. They don't recommend that you charge up to the maximum, so you back a little bit off of that. So my regular daily maximum is about 205 miles of range. Um, I just popped what they call the frunk for front trunk, and this is just additional storage space. I keep a car cover in here most of the time, but it's just practical use of the fact that there's no engine. I'd like to show you on the side here. This does have the optional wheels. That's a 22-inch wheel. It's huge, but really cool. Low profile Pirelli Scorpion tires, so the grip is great. One of the coolest things about the car is the remote. And I don't know if Steve can show this. It is the car itself. There are no visible buttons.
Oh, wow.
But if I take and do a double press on the side, you open the door. And then, of course, I can close the side the same way. I can open up the rear as well, but we'll do that in a second. The rear hatch, because this is an SUV style vehicle, which was important for me for practicality, one of the great things is that you can open the rear hatch remotely. Makes it really convenient when you're loading gear or that type of stuff. The rear seats fold very easily. There's a soft touch kind of a button on the shoulder of the seat here. First is headrest down, and then a second press just releases it, and I push it forward. And you can drop both rear seats, and it's a huge amount of cargo space. To get access to the third row seat, you could climb in and through the aisle, but the easier thing to do is just one single press. And then you've got easy access to the third row seat. One of the interesting stories, and this involves Elon Musk, who has his hands all over anything Tesla designs. Elon was apparently very, very concerned with the opening of the Falcon Wing doors. I know this because my son was working at Tesla at the time. He wanted this to be like the frame of a painting, and you'll notice there is virtually no seam here. There's a seam here, and there's one seam down here along the side, but he wanted this very carefully designed, including the pedestal of the seats. The whole presentation from the side of the car was intended to be very art-like and well-crafted. One of the striking things on a Model X that's even more visible from inside, and you can see it in the video footage we have as we've been driving, is the extremely high uninterrupted windshield, which goes all the way up here above the head of the front passengers. The story on that was Elon had just gotten out of a helicopter trip, and he called the designer Franz at the studio and said, "Hey, I want our front seat to give the same feeling that you get in that globe of a helicopter, so you have this uninterrupted view." Normally the windshield, the roof would stop here on a normal car. It's going all the way back here, so it's like having a panoramic sunroof for the front seat passengers. The real heart of any Tesla, at least so far, is the center display, because it really is the way you manage many of the vehicle systems compared to a traditional car where you had lots of knobs and switches and that type of stuff. For instance, you have no radio knobs. If you want to listen to music, you just touch the music symbol, and now you have not only standard radio, but you have, because I have constant GPS access, I have internet radio, so I can change, any of the types of stations as far as that's concerned. Um, Navigation, key for any vehicle these days. They can give you the full screen image for a map.
Wow.
And if you want to know where your nearest superchargers are, you can set up a whole trip and navigate specifically from supercharger to supercharger if you're doing a long type of a trip. So this is listing all the superchargers on the left. The map hasn't built yet, but you can see that's the kind of support that you get, because you have the whole issue of range anxiety and that type of stuff. So they really have anticipated that, and these are the Tesla chargers, but there are there are thousands of other chargers that are in hotel parking lots and shopping centers and things like that that are not Tesla superchargers, but they're still opportunity places where you can charge the car. But this would be, the closest one would be up here in Redondo Beach. So you can navigate to any destination as you normally would with navigation, but because this is an electric vehicle, they've thought through the fact that you may need to be navigating to your next charge point. So you can just touch the lightning bolt here, and that'll bring up any superchargers in your area, and you can set up your travel based on that. Down below here is a chart that I frankly don't find much use for, but that's your energy consumption above and below the line. So you're using energy above the line, and you're restoring or regenerating energy. This would be regenerative braking, and you can see some of these have a little green mark on them. Down here at the base of the screen, some really important stuff. We've got heated seats, so either the driver or the passenger can set their seats for heating. You're controlling your climate control here. Once again, no knobs and buttons. It's all touchscreen. But one of the coolest parts of this thing is the controls. What you've got here is you can manage the doors. You can open and close any of the doors from here. You can move the seats, the rear seats, to help a passenger get into the third row, that type of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
You can manage the height of your suspension.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
One of the cool things about Tesla, because you have that GPS, is if you had a steep driveway to enter and you had to raise the nose to keep from scraping, forevermore it will remember that location, and when you drive home it will automatically raise the car without you having to redo the command. Now another thing here you have is settings, and settings brings along a lot of things. You've got profiles for any of the drivers. You can add a new driver. Myself and my wife have profiles already, but one of the other things is gotta clear this screen for a second. Is you have your owner's manual. Here's your owner's manual down here. So when you have the inevitable question from time to time, especially in a new format vehicle, you just can bring it up here and get any kind of reference material like the instrument panel, that type of thing, right on the car. And it'll give you, it's all touchscreen.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, it's really slick. One of the really remarkable things with Tesla is the attention to detail. What I'd like to point out is this is my car. This is not just any Tesla, just any paint job. This is my color of paint. These are my optional wheels. And check out the level of detail here. I'm going to turn on the blinker.
Wow.
And if the headlights were on, they're automatic. You'd see that the headlights were on. And in the main display, I'm also getting the blinker showing. And if I was driving, it would have the vehicle oriented forward, and I could see anytime I put the brakes on, the brake lights would come on in the screen. This, of course, is a really important screen for an electric vehicle because it's all about how much range you have. Now the range is approximate. It's showing 140 miles right now, but if I drove at 70-80 miles an hour, I wouldn't get 140 miles. I'd get something less. I don't know exactly what the change would be, but I'd like you to notice this little white triangle here in the white dashed line. That's the limit that they recommend you use on a daily basis of recharging. So that gets me up to about 205 miles. My maximum, if I went all the way out, is 230. But that last 10% apparently takes a lot of energy and a lot more time, so they don't recommend you do that unless you're going on a long trip and you need maximum mileage.